Good morning and welcome to the Polo Grounds. It's time for coffee and baseball as the New York Giants and Cincinnati Reds square off in game one of a doubleheader featuring Fall Classic Baseball. And this is the continuation of our Beyond the Merkle game project where I play the remaining National League schedule after 9/23/1908 for the Giants, the Cubs, and the Pirates as we look to finish the stretch to the National League pennant race that year. And in this game, the Cubs have already completed a sweep of the Superbas in a doubleheader on this day in both the replay as they did in real life. The Giants also swept this doubleheader in real life and will need to do so in the replay to keep pace with the Cubbies. So our starting lineups, we'll get right to the action after that for the Reds. Dick Bayless in right, Dick Egan at second, Hans Lopert at short, Bob Bescher in left, Dick Hoblitzel at first, Mike Mowry at third, Dode Paskert in center, Admiral Schley behind the plate, and Bob Ewing, the Cincinnati ace, will be on the hill. And Ewing was a 17-game winner against 15 losses in 1908. For the Giants, it will be Fred Tenney at first, Buck Herzog at second, Roger Bresnahan behind the plate, Mike Donlin in right, Cy Seymour in center, Art Devlin at third, Moose McCormick in left, Al Bridwell at short, and the legendary Christy Big Six Mathewson on the hill for the Giants. And Mathewson, a 37-game winner against 11 defeats in 1908. I've already rolled for the bullpen session. Ewing rolled his A stuff, Mathewson his B. And again, the house rule at the start of the fourth inning, since Ewing did not roll his normal stuff, we will re-roll to see if he maintains his great stuff or falls back to normal. And comparing the two cards, Mathewson's normal stuff is actually slightly better than Ewing's good stuff. Ewing, the big difference here, a walk 1 to 18. Mathewson's normal stuff is 1 to 6. And he also has more strikeouts and gives up less home runs, which, again, in this era, so far in this replay, there's only been one hit to date of the games played. Our seventh inning fun fact today will be the history of the doubleheader, since our last two presentations have both been doubleheaders. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the seventh inning. So welcome, good morning to Bob's Tabletop Sports and Cards and Dice Baseball TV with Tony Porter. Check out both those great, wonderful channels. We are ready to get underway as Bayless is going to step in against Matty. And to start the game, that's going to be a strikeout. So Mathewson, not prolific by today's standards, but at the time, one of the game's better strikeout pitchers, sets to face Dick Egan. And here comes a pitch to Egan, and that's going to be an out. 40s, again, can be walks on the pitcher's card, but Mathewson very stingy giving up the base on balls. That's going to be a ground out to Matty. Flips that over to Fred Tenney, 2 down, and that brings up Hans Lopert. And Lopert, one of the players interviewed in a glory of their times. And if you can get the audiobook, which is available on iTunes, highly recommended listen. Very interesting. It's the actual taped interviews of the ball players themselves that were done in the early 1960s. Sam Crawford is also on there, and Rube Marquardt, Davy Jones. Very entertaining listen. So here we go to Lopert, 15, and that's going to be an out, a fly ball into right field, and a 3-up, 3-down inning for the Giants as Mike Donlin reels that in. It's no score heading to the bottom of the first. And Fred Tenney set to lead off the game for the Giants. 54, we're going to have a range play. And that's going to be a center field single check. And in center field for the Reds is Dode Paskert. He has a range of 10, and he's not going to be able to run that down. And the Giants, out of the gates fast against Ewing, who again has his A stuff for this game. B.R. Willems, good morning, my friend. Yeah, I decided to do this before work today. Usually I'm running, but it's raining outside here, so I'll actually run later on our treadmill inside. Decided to play baseball instead. What better thing to do? A defensive check for Herzog, and that is going to be an error on the first baseman. 13 is the roll, and Dick Hoblitzel is an 18. So the Reds trouble in the field early in this one as 2 runners on due to defensive lapses. First error of the ball game. Roger Bresnahan, the batter. Should potentially be 2 outs for Ewing, so he cannot be happy with that. And 31 off the pitcher's card is going to be a single. And right-handed batter, that is going to go into center field. Sorry, I moved my pen. First to third holds, second to home scores if a weak and average arm, and there is actually a strong arm, Dode Pasker in center field, so that is going to jam the bases with Giants. Nobody out here in the first inning. And New York threatening to blow this one open early, 32, and finally an out against the Giants' best hitter in the lineup. It's going to be a line drive to the second baseman. So all runners making it back safely to their respective bags. Cy Seymour now the batter. Ewing looking to extricate himself from this jam, and we have yet another range play. And it's going to be a it's an defensive check, shortstop error check, and the roll is 16. At short for the Reds is Lopert, and he is a 16, so he's going to boot that, and we have our first run of the game, and that is of the unearned variety, and actually every run now that scores against Ewing will be unearned as Tenney comes in to cross the plate for the Giants. So dead ball baseball at its finest, terrible fielding. God, it's early here. It's only 6:40 here. Tongue isn't even working right. Art Devlin up, 1 down, bases loaded still, and the Giants 54, and we go to the crazy chart. 54 with men on base, wild pitcher pass ball, refer to pitcher's wild pitch rating, and if 16 falls within that range, runners advance. Bob Ewing has a wild pitch rating of only 9, so 16 is above that. We reset the at-bat. 33, and Devlin is going to drive that into the outfield, and the hits just keep on coming. First to third advance on a weak arm, and again, that goes to Pasker. Second to home, a fast runner scores, and at second base is Bresnahan, and he is average. So the Giants, unfortunately, still go station to station. Yet another unearned run crosses the plate. And that's the first credited RBI of the game. Moose McCormick up. Still only 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Yeah, indeed. And that's the one thing, because the defensive checks are static based on the dice. That's probably the only thing that really hasn't been, to me, thus far in this replay, a good representation of the error. And, you can't really control that. You can't add more error checks on the cards, I don't think, for dead ball if you have a regular template. But, when they do happen, it usually is bad for the defensive team. 36 to Moose McCormick, and that goes to Ewing's card, and that's going to be the second out of the inning. Infield at double play depth. Left-handed batter ground ball down to second base. So we have full fielder's choice at second base, batter out. That's going to get another run across as Bresnahan crosses the plate. So 4-6, unable to turn 2, and that stakes the Giants now to a 3-0 lead as Al Bridwell, the 8th batter to come up in this inning, steps up to the plate, and finally Ewing, no thanks to his defense, is going to get out of the inning. That's a ground ball down to second, and Side is retired, but the Giants turned 3 hits into 3 runs thanks to 2 errors, 3 unearned runs crossing the plate against Ewing here in the first. And New York races out to a 3-0 lead. And off to a great start indeed. And I did not have the pitcher's card in the lineup. That's probably going to be the same for the Reds as well. But at least I rolled for the bullpen session this time. There we go. All right, top of the second inning for Cincinnati in a big deficit. Bob Bescher. Down 3-0 against Mathewson is not the situation you want to be in. And Bescher 11, a walk on a 1-2, strikeout on 3-10. Above that is an out, which is the case, and that is going to be a ground ball back to Mathewson. Flips it to Tenney. In our last game on the channel, Ed Rolbach for the Cubs took a no-hitter into the 2 outs into the 6th inning. 11 to Hoblitzel, and usually doubles result in hits. This is going to be a fly out to center field. As again, the Reds, not a overly powerful offensive team. Mike Mowry up. And 42 going off Matthewson's card. Again, he does not walk many. That's going to be a ground ball down to short. And picked up there, whipped across the diamond. Bridwell to Tenney. Side is retired, 3 up, 3 down again. Things go quick for the Reds. Second inning in a row. Heading to the bottom of the second, New York up 3-0. And Brandon Baker has joined us just in time. Big Reds fan. Their defense was a little erratic in the first inning. 3 unearned run for the Giants. 56, and going off of Ewing's card, that's going to be a strikeout. So Ewing strikes out his counterpart. Back to the top of the order, Fred Tenney, who reached first on a single to lead off the game. 51, and it is going to be another defensive check, and things have not been good for the Reds there. A shortstop error on the shortstop. And again, Lopert with a 16. He's going to have his second E6 of the day. That is now 3 errors for Cincinnati. And once again, New York in business. Buck Herzog, the batter. Herzog reached on an error by the first baseman his first time up. And 32, that's going to be an out. The right-handed hitting Herzog ground ball down to third base, and a strong slow on first is going to be a fielder's choice, and Tenney is indeed slow, so he's going to get gunned down at second, 5-4. And fielder's choice for Herzog, 2 down though, and Roger Bresnahan steps up. Bresnahan singled and scored in the first. 36, and Ewing's going to get out of the inning a little bit easier this time, as that's a fly ball into center field. Routine play for Dode Paskert, and the Giants are set down in the second inning. So no hits, no runs, 1 error, 1 left, and we head to the third. 3-0 New York in the lead, and it's going to be Paskert, Admiral Schley, and the pitcher Bob Ewing for the Reds. And 33, and Dode Paskert leads it off with a single, and that's also going to be a stolen base attempt. So first hit of the game for Cincinnati. And no adjustment to his stolen base rating, 1-14. Here comes the throw, and he is gunned down. Bresnahan comes up, throws a bullet to second base. And applying the tag at second base is the shortstop Al Bridwell. And again, using the automatic stolen base system, if there is an X, or I'm sorry, a plus, the runner will steal. So Admiral Schley, and I actually did not replace him either. All right, so Schley, and then I'm also going to need the pitcher's batter's card. But once again, we'll take the victory that I did remember to check the bullpen session today. 15 to Schley, and that's going to be an out. And fly ball into center field, and that's going to be an easy play for Seymour. 2 down, and the pitcher spot comes up. Mathewson still back to facing the minimum due to the caught stealing by Paskert. Ewing steps in, 12, and that's going to get Christie and the Giants out of the inning. Another fly ball to Seymour in center. So the Reds get 1 hit, no runs, no errors. They strand nobody as the runner is erased by a stolen base attempt gone bad. Heading to the bottom of the third inning, it's going to be Donlin, Seymour, and Devlin. Hey, Mr. Moley, hi up from the UK. Lunchtime there for you. Coffee for me. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, my friend. 56 and 56. Swing and miss for Donlin. So Donlin hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out, and way in front of a curveball here. Cy Seymour, the batter, reached on an error by the shortstop. 16, and that's going to be an out for Ewing. That's going to be a line drive into left field, and barely moving out there to make the play is Bob Bescher. 2 down. Art Devlin, the batter. Devlin Had an RBI single in the first inning. Here comes a pitch to Devlin. And he's going to ground that down to third base. And charging in to make that play at third is Mike Mowry. Gets him by a step. So the Giants go down in order here in the third as Ewing settles down after a disastrous defensive first inning. It is 3-0 as we head to the fourth. And 66 to Bayless. And Bayless almost takes Mathewson's head off with a single back up the middle. And Reds are in business here in the fourth inning with a leadoff hit. Dick Egan's going to be the batter, and they are going to work the hit and run. Again, trying to incorporate as much dead ball strategy as I can, and I guess I should have looked at his rating before I decided to do that. He's only a C. 10 ground out to third base, and runners advance one, so same purpose as a sacrifice, but the Reds with a runner in scoring position, 5-3 on the putout, and that brings up Hans Lopert. Lopert has had a rough time in the field, 2 errors today so far. 64, it's going to go to Mathewson's card. Swing and a miss is Christie with the fadeaway. Comes in on his hands, and Lopert can't check his swing. 2 down. Bob Bescher, Reds left fielder up. He grounded out to Mathewson his first time up. Here comes a pitch, and swing and a miss. Christie with strikeout number 3. Gets 2 of them here in the fourth. So bears down when the Reds get a runner in scoring position. We're heading to the bottom of the frame. Still 3-0 New York up. And Tony Porter enjoying that great New York traffic. Which I've had the pleasure to drive in on my trips back there a couple of times. So bottom of the fourth, Moose McCormick starts it off for the G-men, and 25, that's going to be an out. So Ewing, I'm sorry, I need to re-roll his stuff. It's going to be an out regardless. And Ewing reverts back to his regular stuff, which is still decent. And again, that is going to be a fly ball into center field. Paskert puts that away, 1 down. Shortstop Al Bridwell. Bridwell has played well in the field for the Giants. He grounded out to second his first time up, and this time he's going to drive that into right field between second and first. And a 1-out single. Christy Mathewson will be the batter. Mathewson only hit 156, and he's going to do the prudent thing and lay down a sacrifice bunt, hopefully. And 4s, that is indeed going to be successful, as that's going to be fielded by the pitcher. So going to second base is Bridwell, 1-4 on the putout. Sacrifice hit for Christie, and back to the top of the order, Fred Tenney, the batter. Tenney thus far today is 1 for 2, has reached on a single and an error and scored. Ewing gets a sign, kicks, delivers, and swing and a miss. Ewing, letter high fastball, and Tenney laid on that. So the Giants, a 1-out hit is left at second base as we're through 4. It's 3-0 New York in the lead. And for the Reds, it's going to be Hoblitzel, Mowry, and Dode Paskert to start the 5th inning. And Hoblitzel, swing and a miss. Christy Mathewson, 3 strikeouts in a row. He is dealing for the Giants. Again, the master of the fadeaway, which is now known as the screwball. A very uncommon pitch, and probably the last pitcher to throw it with any success was Fernando Valenzuela back in the 80s and early 90s for the Dodgers. 54, and we're going to have our first defensive check for the Giants. I'm sorry, on the 54 chart. First crazy check for the Giants. And bases empty, fly ball into right field, roll as an error rating. And if an error, go to the exotic error chart. So a 2, and thankfully for Christy Mathewson out in right field, Mike Donlin, I guess I should say not thankfully, is a 5. So we're going to go to the exotic error chart. One moment. that is going to be a 2-base error, as Donlin is going to boot that and then throw wildly back in. So our 4th error of the ball game, and that is going to be an E9. And the Reds, once again, with the runner in scoring position, Dode Paskert, the batter. 66, and Paskert, he's going to get into that, and that's going to be a run-scoring double. So unearned run from second base as Paskert roped that into the gap. That's his 2nd hit of the ball game, and a RBI for him as Cincinnati gets on the scoreboard. And, of course, for Mathewson, that will be an unearned run. So just as I mentioned, errors a little down in this project compared to what they probably were. All 4 of our runs are unearned. And 44, and the hits keep on coming. Admiral Schley, that's going to be driven into center field or left field and second to home. An F and an A score. Dode Paskert is an F, and the Reds out of nowhere have cut this to 3-2, RBI single. And that brings up the pitcher spot, Ewing. 1 down, and Ewing is also a horrible hitter. So he's going to do the prudent thing and bunt, and that's going to be a bunt to the catcher. Chops out off the plate. It will be successful, 2-3 on the putout. And the Reds, runner in scoring position, 2 down for the top of the order, Dick Bayless. And Bayless is 1 for 2. He struck out and singled, and 11, and not going to be low enough there. That's going to be a ground ball down to first base, and Fred Tenney stops the bleeding for the Giants, and sides retired. But the Reds string together a couple of hits, take advantage of an error, and they score 2. We head to the bottom of the 5th. It's 3-2 New York. And one of those 2 runs against Mathewson unearned. For the Giants, it's going to be Buck Herzog, Roger Bresnahan, and Mike Turkey Donlin. Check in with the chat real quick. Oh, you're in Texas. Okay. You down there visiting or for work? And also happy to go. All right, so Tony, thanks for stopping in, my friend. How many errors were typical in average game? It depends, Bruce. It really I would say you could count on an average game at least anywhere from 2 to 4 errors on average. Very few games. The games where neither team made an error were definitely in the minority. And in real life, in this game, for example, New York committed 3 errors in this game, and Cincinnati won. I'm sorry, that's actually in game 2 of this doubleheader. I had my lineups out for that. In this game, which was a 6-2 New York win, Cincinnati committed 2 errors and New York won. So that was actually a pretty decently played defensive game. But yeah, you'd have games, 7, 6, 7, even 8 errors in a single game back in this time period. And I should have checked that. But 31 and 31, that is going to be a single off the pitcher's card as we start the 5th inning. Buck Herzog collects his first hit of the ball game. And 36, Ewing, that's going to be an out, fly ball to center field. And easy play out there for Dode Paskert. 1 down for Mike Turkey Donlin, and Donlin struck out and lined out. And he is the best hitter in this lineup. He's going to show it here as that's driven into the outfield. It's going to be a base hit to center field. First to third advances on a weak arm, and we've already established that Paskert does not have that. So that would have been a steal attempt if second base was open. It is not. So Giants runners on first and second now. 1 down for Cy Seymour. And here comes a pitch. This will be a double play if it's a ground ball. Instead, this is a pop out to the first baseman. So F3, second out of the inning. And Art Devlin, the batter. Devlin, he had an RBI single in the first. And the pitch from Ewing, and Devlin hits that on the ground to third base. Runners would advance if less than 2 outs, but there's 2 outs. That'll be a 5-3 put out. Maury over to Hoblitzel, and the side is retired, so 2 hits. And the Giants leave 2 as Ewing escapes the inning unscathed. We head to the 6th. Still 3-0, New York up. And 21, Egan. Mathewson had a rough patch last inning. He's going to induce a ground ball to Bridwell at short. So Bridwell retires Egan on the throw to 10. He 1 down. Hans Lopert. Lopert has flown out to right and struck out. 52, and we are back to the defensive chart. This is going to be a potential error on the shortstop, and 6. I'm pretty sure that is going to be error number 2 for the Giants. It is. Bridwell is a 9. So 5 errors total in this game, and this is the dead ball style of play we all know and love. Small ball and no defense. As Bob Bescher steps up with 1 down. And Bescher waits for the pitch. This will be a double play if it's a ground ball. It's not. It will be a fly out to right field. 2 down. And first baseman Dick Hoblitzel. And again, anything crosses the plate now, it will be unearned. Mathewson looking to get out of the inning. And 42, his regular stuff, and that's an out. And that was dangerously close to walk range, but Mathewson, again, pinpoint control, as that's a fly ball into shallow left field, and camping under that is Moose McCormick. So the error does not come back to haunt the Giants. We head to the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 in a close one. New York up over Cincinnati. And 63, Ewing is going to induce the out. Ground ball down to shortstop, and a nice play by Loper, who's had a rough go in the field. 1 down to start the 6th, and shortstop Al Bridwell for the Giants steps up. He's 1 for 2. 61 and 61, swing and a miss strikeout as Bridwell breaks off a nice spitball in the dirt, and wailing over the top of that is Bridwell. Christy Mathewson now the batter. 2 down, bases empty, and second strikeout in a row as Big Six takes a big cut of the fastball, comes up empty. So we're through 6 innings, and it is a good one. 3-2. Giants in the lead, and it's going to be in the 7th inning for the Reds. Maury, Taskert, and Admiral Schley. And we start off the defensive chart again, and it's going to be a second base potential error. And a roll of 18. That should be safe. And Buck Herzog, actually, that error rating cannot be right. Let me check his card to be sure. I think it should be a 20. At second base, it is indeed a 20, so much for 18 being safe. As that is not usually Herzog's best position. So we have our 6th error of the ball game. 3 by each team. Doe Tasker, the batter, 64, and 64 is going to be a strikeout. Mathewson has now struck out a total of 5 today. And again, one of the better strikeout pitchers of the era, Admiral Schley, the batter. And here comes a pitch to Schley. It's going to be a fly ball into left field, and going back a few steps is McCormick. 2-hand grab, and 2 down for the pitcher, Bob Ewing. This is turning into a good old-fashioned 1908 pitcher's duel with the defense making a difference. And Ewing, unbelievable, he gets a hold of that, and that's going to be a double. And are we going to have a tie ball game as the pitcher comes through? First to home, hold, 2 outs, assist check. All right, that's to center field. And in center field for the Giants is Cy Seymour. And Seymour, he's got an arm rating of 6. And that is going to be automatically gunned down at the plate. We'll roll just for the heck of it, but a double, and the Reds get a little reckless on the base paths, and 8-2 on the putout. So the tying run gunned down at home plate, and Cincinnati goes down in the top of the 7th after one hit. They will officially leave one. It is still 3-2. New York clinging to a slim lead. And our 7th inning fun fact, the history of the doubleheader, or I guess origins. And in researching this, the doubleheader was first played 2 years after professional baseball started. The National Association played their first one in 1873, and I could not find any details as to why that happened, most likely due to weather. The first official National League doubleheader was September 9th, 1876, Hartford versus Cincinnati. And there, again, it seems to be related to weather, as there were 2 days with no games prior to that. So it didn't really come into vogue until the 1880s, and initially it started as a holiday tradition. First doubleheader, not intentionally, was played, first Independence Day doubleheader, I should say, was played in 1881. And by the end of the decade, it had pretty much become a tradition to play doubleheaders on both Memorial Day and the 4th of July. And then again, as weather demanded, to make up games in the schedule. And of course, both doubleheaders today are making up games late in the schedule, and the Cubs and Superb has already completed theirs, and now the Reds and Giants. And interestingly enough, the probably epic doubleheader period in 1889 and 1890 in the National League. In 1889, 16% of the games were doubleheaders, and in 1890 it was over 17%. And of course, it's tapered over the years. In fact, last season was the really resurgence in doubleheaders, and again, due to the crazy COVID schedule, where 7-inning doubleheaders were played. And I actually thought it was kind of cool to see doubleheaders again and see pitchers getting complete games. Trevor Bauer, for example, had a couple pitching in doubleheaders in 2020. So there you go, the origins of the doubleheader. And again, initially kind of implemented to give fans a little bit extra and boost attendance on other days by giving them a free game on a holiday when more Americans had the opportunity to come to the ballpark. So bottom of the 7th inning, it's going to be top of the order, Tenney, Herzog, and Bresnahan. Here we go, and 16, and that's going to be an out for Ewing to start the inning. A left-handed batter is going to ground that down to first base. Underhanded flip to the pitcher. So one down to start the 7th for New York. 42, and again, Ewing back to his normal stuff, but he does not walk a lot. That's going to be a ground ball down to third base. And nice play at the hot corner by Mike Mowry. 2 down for Roger Bresnahan, as Ewing seems to be getting stronger as this game progresses, and we're going to have that defensive result come up again. And that's a 10, so that could be probably an error, especially on the infield third baseman Mowry. And Mowry actually is only a 9, so he bobbles that, recovers, and just able to nip Bresnahan at first base. So finally, somebody makes a play, and we're through 7. We're heading to the top of the 8th. It's 3-2. Giants up, and it's going to be the top of the order for the Reds. And Christy Mathewson comes out firing and induces a line drive there. That's going to go to the shortstop, Bridwell. And again, I use the white 1d6 roll to get the position when that comes up as an option on the cards. Dick Egan, the batter, 1 down. And Egan today is 0 for 3. Here comes a pitch, and that's going to be a fadeaway. Just nips the inside corner, and Egan is frozen. Strike 3 called. So Mathewson with 6 strikeouts now. Brings up Hans Lopert, and Lopert, he has reached on an error, flown out, and struck out. Here comes a pitch, and Mathewson, that's going to be a line drive hit right at the third baseman and snagged at third by Art Devlin. So 2 hard hit balls, but the Reds go down in order here in the top of the 8th. They have 3 at-bats left to even this up. I'm a big history fan too, my friend, especially for whatever reason, like the 1890s, early 1900s, especially around sports, are very intriguing to me, and just life in general, actually. I've got a couple of books about that time period that just relate to normal life, as 56, Mike Donlin leading it off here in the 8th inning. And that's going to be a strikeout by Bob Ewing. And Donlin, I should say, has had a rough go at the plate. He has singled, but also struck out twice. And he was not a big strikeout batter. Sometimes a pitcher gets the best of you, as 42. That's going to be an out to Cy Seymour, and that'll be a ground ball down to shortstop. And Hans Lopert, he of 2 errors, 2 very costly errors in this game, makes the play. Routine there for him as Art Devlin comes up. And this has now been 10 batters in a row set down by Ewing, and it's going to be 11 as Devlin drives that into center field, and going back a few steps are Dode Paskert. Two-handed catch, and side is retired again in order. So we head to the top of the 9th, and Ewing has come back and done his part. It's going to be up to his team to see if they can crack the puzzle that is Big Six. Christy Mathewson looking for the complete game victory. And 22 with a 6. They're going to get off to a good start as Bescher drives that into the outfield, and it is going to be a stolen base attempt as well with the plus there. Bescher, 14. Here comes the throw from Bresnahan. Comes up huge the second time today. His second caught stealing as Bescher pounds the dirt in disgust. And Cincinnati may have run themselves out of a chance to tie this game in the top of the 9th. 56 as Mathewson, the fadeaway, and that nips the outside corner to the left-handed batter. Strike 3 called again, so 2 down. And the Reds, key miscalculation there on the stolen base attempt. This is going to be it. The last batter of the game, and Mowry puts it into play. Right-handed batter, ground ball down to shortstop, and picking that up is Bridwell. The easy throw to Tenney, and side is retired. That's ball game, folks. So Cincinnati gets a leadoff single in the 9th. Bescher tries to steal, and Bresnahan is equal to the task. And the Giants have hung on for a 3-2 victory in the opening game of a doubleheader. Let's get our final line scores here. Both pitchers pitched very well. It was the defense that made the difference this morning. As your final line score for Cincinnati, it is 2 runs, 6 hits, 3 errors. And for the Giants, 3 runs, 6 hits, 3 errors. The winning pitcher is Christy Mathewson. The loser is Bob Ewing. And for Mathewson, that is going to bring his record in the replay. He's holding serve with what he did in real life at this point. So let's see. He went into this game. He was 33-9 coming in, so he's going to win his 34th game of the replay as the Giants hold pace with the Cubbies, at least in the first game of the doubleheader. We'll be back with the second game later on. So I want to thank everybody for joining us at the ballpark, Bob's Tabletop Sports. Check out that channel. And Cards and Dice TV with Tony Porter. Give him a look as well. Brandon Baker, Reds fan extraordinaire. Thank you for stopping by, and sorry the result did not go better for you. Mr. Moley 55, our good friend from across the pond. Thanks for stopping in. And this was a good one. Yeah, defense made the difference. Speaking of history, Anthony, wasn't you who had recommended? Yeah, Cleveland Spiders, Patsy Tebow, and the I'll give you the exact title, my friend. That's one. That's actually one I am reading, but I haven't picked it up in a couple of weeks. One second here, and I'll get And Patsy Tebow is a very interesting character too. It's Rowdy, Patsy Tebow, and the Cleveland Spiders, and it takes a look at their 1890 season. Very interesting stuff. I'm kind of going back and forth between that. I'm still working on finishing the history, the first Great World Series, or dang it, the 1912 World Series book between New York and Boston, and also finishing the first half of Connie Mack's autobiography, which basically covers the his first roughly 40 plus years in baseball. And those two books between them, each book is nearly 500 pages, so almost 1,000 pages on Connie Mack's autobiography. So yeah, I'm rotating between those three, but all very good books, and that's why I haven't finished any of them, because I keep going back and forth. But anyway, hey, appreciate y'all stopping by. Happy Monday, everyone. And if you don't mind, on the way out of the ballpark, hit that like button for me. Hope you all have a great day and keep rolling those games. Stay young. This is Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming, and we'll be back later with Game 2 of this doubleheader. Take care, everyone.